Okay, so what I'm going to show you today is a quick tutorial on how you can take your rough sketches or your fashion illustrations and enhance them in Adobe Photoshop. So this was one of the images that I sketched out, and I wanted to base it off of the chiffon textile fabric that we rendered or discussed in class. So her look is a bit of a mix between the fall winter collection and that chiffon. We're going to work with chiffon because we're going to use that as inspiration for our evening wear collection coming up soon. But with that being said, this was one of the sketches that I completed. I actually didn't scan the image. I took a picture of it, emailed it to myself, and saved it to my documents. And now it's a JPEG. So I opened up Photoshop. I'm going to try to keep this video really simple. So listen carefully and play along and follow along. My computer might be a little slow, so just bear with me. Now this is a zoomed out version of her, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit Command plus so that I can zoom in and you can get a better look at the illustration. So here she is. The media that I used was mainly marker. The brown tones here, they're lightly shaded with a brown color pencil. I use my skin tone Artist Loft markers. Even a peach skin tone for the chiffon top, I use that as well. For the denim skirt, guys, you know pretty much how to render that. The base of it is in marker, Prisma color. The little lines that you see with the markings that you see are both the finer brush side of the Prisma marker and a color pencil, and everything else is marker. And the outline that you see is the finished piece of the illustration, which is the micron pen. So that's why it's really important to have a micron. Micron works wonders, and you'll notice that you know, some of you may wonder, well, wow, how does the skin tone show up through this sheer? Remember, a lot of your markers are water based or alcohol base, so you can render on top of each other. I made sure that I rendered with the skin tone marker first. Her skin was done first. After that, I used the blush color skin tone to create the shade, the pink sheer chiffon. And later on, I used different tones of gray. This is a gray, but it has a bluer hint to it, just to give you some shading to see a little bit of the fold. So that's something to keep in mind when you're working on sheer fabrics. And it's fun, it takes time. But yeah. Okay, so what I really want to do is just change the color, you know, the brightness and the contrast of the color. So first thing I'm going to do is go to image, adjustments. I'm going to click on brightness and contrast. And I've done this before on another document to test it out. So when you see me save it, I'll save it as number 2. That was a little side note. Okay, so contrast, I'm going to take it over. I may take it over to 100. It's really strong. If I do 100, her skin here, the brown color pencil almost looks orange, like a rust color. But when I scroll down, it looks a little better because earlier you'll notice that that black looked kind of ashy. It still does, but I can work on that again. Now I want to take the brightness up a little bit. I'm just scrolling up and down so you can see the entire image. Okay, so the brightness, I'll bring it over. That's too dark, too light. Maybe number 9. I'll keep that at number 9. I think number 9 is okay. I'll scroll down just to see what we have. So everything is pretty much the same. I'm going to click OK. And I'll zoom out so you can see what the entire image looks like now. So she still looks a little orange under there, but that's okay. I like vivid color. That's fine for me. So what I want to do, because I noticed that the boots, they still have this ashy black I'm not a fan of. So I'm going to zoom back in, but I'm just going to focus on the boots itself. Let me zoom out just a little bit to make sure. Okay, great. So I'm going to use the quick selection tool. First, I'll click on the move tool. The move tool just, reinforces. It just lets me know that I know my image is selected. And if I try anything, nothing, I won't make any errors. So if you look here, you'll notice that it's still a background layer. So it doesn't really matter to click on it. If it was more layers, then it would definitely be important to click on the image. But anyhow, I'm going to take the quick selection tool and I'm going to hold down the shift. Let me try this because I want to do both boots at the same time. So I'm going to hold down the shift button and I need to make sure that I click the plus sign so that I can make sure that I'm highlighting everything in the boot that I want. Okay, I'm still holding down the shift button so I can highlight this boot at the same time. So that's what the shift does. It allows you to work on different sections at the same time. Okay, perfect. So I took my hand off of the shift key. I took my finger off the shift key. Now I'm going to go up to the image tab, go down to adjustments, click brightness and contrast. I'm going to move my contrast over to 100 to give me that dark feel that I want. I want it really black. And now I'm taking my brightness over to the left. And I'm loving what I see. And let me bring it up some because you'll notice that this white turned like a bluish gray. And I want to keep my white. So I'm going to bring it back over just a little bit. I think this is perfect. You'll notice here it still looks a little funky, but that's okay. I'll click OK. So now I'm going to hit deselect. And what I want to do is go back in this little section to see if I can get it darker. So I'm just going to click here. No, I didn't want that whole thing. I'll go back to the quick selection, but I'm going to hit the one that has a little minus to remove the selection from there. I'll bring that down. I'll bring this down. Okay, so let me try the contrast here. Let's see. Let me just try the brightness first. Take it over to the left. That looks a little better. But I still see that bluish gray. So let me take it back just a bit. Let me play around. So you just pretty much play around with the brightness and contrast until you get it to your liking. That's the main thing. And I noticed that it's starting to look darker than the other boot, but I'm actually satisfied with that. Deselect, and now I'm going to zoom out. As a matter of fact, I can't stop working on it. I want to go back to the other boot, so I'm just going to select that. Once again, brightness and contrast, moving my brightness over a bit. Okay, now I'm going to leave it alone. Then I'll hit select, deselect to remove the selection from my boot. Okay, so one more thing. Okay, so I actually like the way that she looks. I'm pleased. I'll work with this. I want to create a new document and take her over as a layer to the other document. So let's see what happens here. File, new. I'm praying that it's not going to take me forever since I'm recording. So bear with me, guys, as I open up this new document. So once again, I'm going to use her as a layer in the other document. I want a wider document, so I'm going to use the orientation document just in case I decide to make this into an entire layout. At least I have some room to work with. So I want to make sure that the inches are selected. My width, I like wide space. I like a lot of space to work with. So I'm going to hit 14 for the width. For the height, I'll hit 11 inches. I'm going to click the print. I can either do print or art illustration. Let me see what art illustration. No, I'll just stick with my print. It's fine. Orientation and click landscape orientation. I'm sorry, and click create. Okay, so this is my space. Now I'm going to go back to her. I'm going to zoom out. With that, all you have to do is hit Command minus, zoom out, and I'm going to select her by using, I don't want to use the quick selection tool. My favorite tool is the Lasso, magnetic lasso, because it's so precise. So I'm going to, well, let me make sure I just click the background image just in case. I'm going to go back to the magnetic lasso and begin to cut her out. So with this, you have to be really, it's telling me that no pixels are selected. So let me try that again. You have to be really careful because the lasso can go haywire. And remember, it's magnetic. So that was a situation where it went a little haywire. It's magnetic. Remember that it's magnetic. So the lasso is going to automatically stick to the pixels that you select. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I don't want you to miss anything. And here you have to kind of take your time because it's so small. I can't see everything that I'm selecting, but see that little string? That's your lasso. And it's magnetic, so it's connecting to her top, her blouse as I go up. Every dot represents a click. So I'm not holding down the mouse, I'm just clicking. So every little dot, little square, that represents how many times I click the mouse. Left click. So you saw what happened. A phone call came in and it messed me up. So let me try something that I haven't done before. I'm gonna hold the quick selection tool, click the plus button, and now I'm going to, yeah, select everything else that was missed. And I believe in this area I can erase that on the next page. This piece of hair was left out, so I'm going to make sure that I select that. And she might just be okay. Okay, so I'm praying that everything is selected. I'm going to copy it by holding down Command C. I'm going to click on my new document and I'm going to hit Command V for paste. And she made it over safely. So I'm going to click on the move tool, and if you notice, I have my background here, which was the white untitled page or document, and now I have my layer. So if I hit the I button, she's no longer visible. If I click it again, now she's visible. So this is the importance of the move tool. I'm going to click on that move tool, move her around so that you can see she's there, but she needs to be able to fit within the document. So I'm going to hit Command T, which means transform. I'm going to scale her down to fit within the document, bring it over a little bit. I'll probably bring it down just a bit. And let's say I need, let me hit this. I'm hitting enter, sorry. Okay, so let's say I actually think the workspace is too small, so I'm going to change the size of the canvas. I'll hit image, canvas size, and I'm going to take the height up to, I can do 11. I can make it even 11 by 11. Click OK, and now I have some room. Even if it looks too big, you can always change it. So I'm just going to bring her up again, Command T. Hit enter, and there we have it. So I have my first look for whatever I plan on doing with this. So I hope you guys learn something, and I'll show you how we can actually take this chiffon, and let's say you're not too good with adding sequins or rendering sequins yet. I'm going to teach you in the next video how you can apply the sequins textile to this blouse.